Hello and welcome back to the Brilliant Business Beautiful Life podcast. The last 4 weeks have been dedicated to the amazing women who are yet to start their online service business. Today is the last part in the series of Startup Success. And it's a little more personal for me because I'll share some of my journey with you from how I went from a complete newbie to building a successful online service business that helps female coaches and service entrepreneurs around the world to grow their own online businesses. These days, I am completely in love with my business, complete love, heart, eyes, but it wasn't always that way. When I first started, I had no clue where to begin. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know where to start looking. I didn't know what I needed, what I didn't need. It was just a whole big mess of confusion. And, I came from a very strong corporate background. I had run a brick and mortar business before. So it's not like I was new to running a business and making money for myself. It's something I had done previously very successfully. But this online world, it's completely different to what I knew. And I didn't realize how different it was until I started getting into everything. And I felt like a complete baby because shouldn't I know this? Why don't I know this? So I had a really clear vision for my online service business, and I knew that it was going to be something big that was going to change my life. But like I said, I was so confused as to how to get there. I didn't know how to make it happen. And I was so overwhelmed and confused by all the questions running through my head. The number of nights that I did not get any sleep because I was just, my mind couldn't stop. How do I figure this out? What do I do? When do I do it? I don't know. Where do I find the answers? I was just, those thoughts wouldn't leave me alone. I just had no idea what tech to choose. I didn't even know about all the options out there, let alone knowing which ones to choose. And I didn't know where to find the information I needed. And then when I found information, I didn't know who was a reliable source that I could trust. So, it was just a big schmozzle. And like I said, so very different to running a brick and mortar business or working in corporate world. I just felt completely out of my depth, absolutely out of my depth. And the to-do list, oh my goodness, it just kept growing. It was never ending. Every day I'd be adding 45 things to my to-do list, and it became such a stressful event looking at it. I ended up not looking at it because it just made my head hurt. And I spent hundreds of hours Googling. I wasted thousands of dollars buying short courses, long courses, masterclasses, and also I downloaded all the lead magnets, hundreds of lead magnets, all trying to find the answers, trying to put all the puzzle pieces together, but nothing delivered. Nothing gave me what I needed. Even like I said, my previous business experience in brick and mortar and corporate didn't help. Even my uni degree that supposedly prepared me for running an online business, I can now see that the concepts that they taught were so archaic and outdated that I had wasted years of my life learning things that were completely unhelpful. So I was feeling really dejected, really feeling down, and just like I was drowning in a sea of confusion. And it just felt like my dreams were never going to happen. Everything was out of reach. And, it's easy to lose faith in yourself and start to, it's a bit of a bash to your confidence too. You start not feeling as secure in yourself and second guessing decisions that you shouldn't do. So, I'd find an expert and I would listen to everything they said. I'd read their website, look at their socials, download their things, and do what they said I must do. And then I'd find out there are actually 3 other things that I should have done before that one thing. So then I would backtrack, do the other 3 things, try to remember where I was, reconnect all the dots, and restart from that point again. It was just so confusing. Just so much. Everything was just all over the place. And I didn't know if I was ever going to figure it all out. And I think over time, I tried every tip and strategy in the book. And honestly, 80% of it didn't work. The number of people out there teaching you how to start an online business, they have no clue. They have no clue about tech. They have no concept that there's an order that you should do things in to maximize your efficiency or start from profit from day one or to make everything seamless. All they did was make everything confusing because they only knew their little piece of the puzzle. They didn't know the big picture. They didn't look at the big picture. They certainly didn't teach the big picture. It was like, here's this little piece. You go and do what you like with it. Off you go. So, yeah, and I have to say, I must admit that I was embarrassed because I should have known. In my head, I should have known. I've run a business before successfully. I've spent so many years in the corporate world, in different areas. I've got so much lived and learned experience that I was embarrassed that I didn't know what I was doing. I was even more embarrassed that I'd spent so much time trying to figure it all out and still couldn't figure it all out. And even more embarrassed again because of the amount of money that I had spent on all these things, thinking it was going to be the answer, and it wasn't. So yeah, I was really deeply embarrassed, really disheartened. And at one point, it got to a point, it was probably even, 6 months in, 12 months in. And I thought, I can't do this anymore. This is ridiculous. Why am I banging my head up against the wall? Why am I continuously paying money for things that I don't understand or I don't need or whatever? So yeah, I sort of hit a bit of rock bottom and felt like just throwing it all in. But the reason I didn't is because deep down, I still had my dream. I still knew and believed within myself that I was meant for more, that this was my thing. I just had to find my way. I just had to believe in myself. I had to trust in myself, and I had to back myself. And once I started reshifting how I thought about things, that's when things started to change. And I started to slowly claw back the confidence that had been so badly beaten. So yeah, there was a time where I thought, no, this isn't for me. I better just stop now. So back to all the puzzle pieces. I guess at one point I also thought, does anybody have any common sense? Is there such a thing still in existence? Because I was just so frustrated at the time wasting, and I was so tired of hearing the same old rhetoric about starting an online business, because everyone was saying the same thing. And that is, all you need is a plan or a marketing strategy. And I bet you've heard the same. You need a plan, you need a marketing strategy, you need a content strategy. Well, yeah, you do need that, but that's not what you need to start your business. There's about 45,000 steps you need to do before you get to that point of creating a logo and creating your marketing plan. So how are those things going to help me start my business? Why are they telling me this? Why are they leaving out so much? Why are they keeping everything to themselves? It was so difficult to find all the missing pieces and to help me start my business and run it for profit from day one. Like, seriously, how is a marketing plan going to help me start my business? Now, like I said, those things are really important, but they come further down the track. So what I was really searching for, but no one is talking about, is the journey, the steps from having the first thoughts of running your own business to actually implementing all those 45,000 steps you need to take, and knowing when to take them and why to take them to transform my dream, my thoughts into the reality. And if you want the real uncomfortable truth, a simple plan isn't enough to turn your idea into a thriving online coaching or service business, at least not by itself. And here's why. Merely having a plan won't cut it. In reality, a plan on its own can lead to confusion, a lack of clarity, especially when it's not considering the big picture view, which was what all the other things were doing. They were only looking at one piece of the puzzle, not the big picture. Now, a general plan doesn't give you the specific steps you need to take the idea out of your head and turn it into a business. It leaves you grasping at straws. But where are all the middle steps? You're bouncing around different concepts that don't connect the dots in between. So that's why I spent so long Googling, desperately seeking answers to the thousands of questions I had, only to waste hundreds of hours lost, falling down rabbit holes, trying to find the puzzle pieces and then put them all together. And what did I get at the end of it all? A big confused, scribbled mess. You should have seen my notepad. It was idea, 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 idea. And then it was so confused and so disoriented that I couldn't even understand what I'd written down or which step came first. You know, if I couldn't understand my own writing from putting together all these bits and pieces, what was I going to do? I was overloaded with information. There's just so much information around, and you'd actually think that that's a good thing, right? But this abundance of advice and information is confusing. It leaves you feeling overwhelmed and really unsure of where to start. So, and there's so many programs, products, and courses that they make really big promises, but they fall short. And none of them seem to cover everything. Like I said, they're only just one little puzzle piece, whereas we want the whole box. We want the puzzle box so we can put it all together. Yeah, they only teach you the bits and pieces, and then they're not in any particular order. So you constantly feel the need to keep searching for and buying more in the hope that one day you're going to stumble across the Holy Grail and have an moment. Well, for me, that moment never came. Plus, the other thing, when you're a startup, you're pretty much on your own. You're it, without anyone to help keep you on track or give you that roadmap. It's really easy to get sidetracked by all the shiny objects. And let me tell you, shiny object syndrome is real. It's a thing. And I was very guilty of getting sidetracked by all the shiny objects out there. It's actually quite debilitating. So, you know, it was not only a lack of clarity around what I needed to do, when and why. You know, there was the isolation. I was the only person, you know, starting my own online business. There was no one else doing it with me. There was no one I could really bounce ideas off. There was someone else around at the time who had just started a business, but they sort of got out of it quite quickly too. So there wasn't the ongoing, you know, support. Oh, how are you going with this? How are you going with that? What do you think about this? You know, no opportunity to, bounce ideas off and talk and work things out together, because sometimes having that community or just someone in your corner who understands what you're doing and why you're doing it and can help you get there, that was all missing. So that was a bit of a something that held me back too. Like, I'm very independent and I love working things out on my own. But as I said in one of the other episodes, being a successful entrepreneur is not doing everything yourself. It is reaching out to quality people around you and having the right team around you, mentors, coaches, etc. So I needed a mentor at that point, but I didn't know that I needed a mentor. So that held me back. So there's all these things that I just had no clue about, which left me floundering. And yeah, but I pushed through because I knew that this was for me. So I pushed through, kept going. And despite getting all the sidetracked and the shiny object syndrome, I just started figuring it all out. And I put it all together, and I actually sat down and started to think, okay, what did I do that worked? Write this down. What did I do that didn't work? Why didn't it work? Or why did it work? And just getting a little analytical about things. And by doing that, I sort of was able to create a process from the beginning to the end. And what I've been able to do now is put that process into some of my client work as well. Because, during this whole time where I was trying to figure everything out, I was actually doing client work as well. So I was floundering around, bumbling along in the background, trying to, get everything sorted out. But I was still also working in my business because, it's a business. I need to make money. I need to work with clients, and that's my joy and what I love to do. So I was able to do that and in the background figure all this stuff out. So it was actually a really good process because I was learning and growing my business. And then a lot of the clients that come to me, they were in exactly the same place that I had been. They didn't know how to start, didn't know what to do, didn't know where to turn, and were completely overwhelmed. And the majority of them hate tech with a passion, dislike it, don't understand it, don't want to do it, no clue. So, they'd come to me because I solved that problem for them and would do the tech for them. But I guess where I was going with that is the working out the what to do, when to do it, why to do it, and creating a bit of a process or a framework even. I was able to then transfer that information into my project work with my clients. And I was amazed because I could see it helping them in their businesses too. I was able to guide them. I was able to say, okay, you're at this point, so this is the next step. And then this is the step after that. Or you've missed this step, we need to go back here and fix this up first, then we can move on to the next. And it was like they had their moment, the aha, everything starts to fall into place. And the confusion and the overwhelm and the frustration just fell off their shoulders, which was really beautiful to see. And it was very quite satisfying to me because it's a process that I had figured out and I was able to help them with it too. So long story short, yes, a plan is a great way to get really clear on what you want and start the process of building your online business or your side hustle, but it's actually not the be all and end all. You also need a complete step-by-step process of all the nitty-gritty, all the bits and pieces together, a framework that tells you what to do, when to do it, how to do it, why to do it, what tech you need, what you don't, importantly. So yeah, all that tech, the mindset, the tools, the prompts, the accountability, everything to help you just get it done quickly, easily, without frustration, without wasting time, without wasting money, so that you can transition from your 9-to-5 into a thriving online service business quickly. So it wasn't just having a plan that really turned things around for my business and for my clients' business. it was creating that complete, consistent, repeatable framework. And it would have been amazing if I had discovered it earlier. Certainly, my business would have grown more quickly and more easily without all the stress and self-doubt that I had. But I'm sort of glad the beginning was a bit icky and confusing, because I've been able to create something really meaningful that can help others too. And so that no one else needs to go through the same trial and error I did and waste years or months or thousands of dollars trying to find the answers to the what, the how, the when, and the why of building their online business. Instead, now I have a step-by-step system that gets them genuine results without wasting time or money, and happens in a beautiful flow. And it's just priceless. It really is. This can really help you. So if you want to escape the 9-to-5 grind, start with downloading my free 9-to-5 exit plan, so you can map out your freedom in the 3 hours, and the link's below in the show notes. But also, if you really want to fast track things, get on the waiting list for my amazing new program called Startup Success, which is where I use this framework that I developed so you can build your business from scratch without overwhelm, without confusion, without falling down the Google rabbit hole, without any wasting of time or money, so you can start your business in 60 days. Startup Success is using the exact framework I created, so you can start your business with ease and joy. And I've got a very special limited spot foundation round. It's opening at the end of October, so you can actually give notice and start your own business in 2024. Isn't that amazing? You can literally stop dreaming and start doing what lights you up. So jump on the waiting list today for Startup Success. You will be so glad you did. The link is in the show notes below. If you've been feeling lost and confused about figuring out how to start your online business, I really hope that this episode has reassured you that everything you're thinking, everything you're feeling, you're not alone. It's such a common problem, and there is a solution that will give you the exact step-by-step process of setting up your business to be successful from day one. Remember, you can do it. And now, right now, is the time for the brilliant business and beautiful life you adore. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope you enjoyed our Startup Success series and are fired up and ready to start your own online service business.